Hello. Hi. Ah, is my mic working? It looks like it is. I hope I'm not too quiet. You'll have to let me know if you can hear me. It's always the first question I ask every stream because I'm always so afraid. Yes. So I know I'm a little early, but that's what happens. It was early or late, and I think it's always better to be early than to be late, in my personal opinion. It's been quite a while since we've done a live stream. It's been a long time in the making, a long time. There's been a lot of behind the scenes to make sure this happens. Hi. Yes. We are going to do a future state roundup once one of you answers if you can hear me. So I really hope you can, because otherwise that'd be really awkward. I'm doing well. I hope that you are all doing well as well. So we have been covering a lot of future state at the time of this recording because there is so much coming out, and I have to say it's too much to cover. You know, I had this plan that I was going to read all of them and review all of them, and while the reading all of them part has been going according to plan, the reviewing all of them, because I keep planning to do these kind of roundup style videos. I'm like, oh, I'll just do a little brief snippet of what happened and then fill them in. But I keep having too much to say. There's too much to say. Oh, I want to know how many of you are reading it? How many of you are keeping up with it? How many of you are dipping in and out of it? Because even for that, there is a free issue that details the timeline, but it's an actual separate issue, which of course put me into a whole other headspace and tangent. And then I'm going to be talking about that as well. So look forward to that. Softbacks, Chris, that's a nice way to put it. You know, when I called them floppies in my other video, a couple of people got real offended. They're like, how dare you? You mean real comics? I was like, no, well, they're all comics, trades, floppies. They're both the comics. It's just because they flop around when you hold them. And I'm afraid that I'm going to break them every time I read them, because I buy comics to read them, to actually flip through them. So I feel more secure when they have a bit more of a hardbound-ish cover. Yeah, no, I hear you. A bunch of you are talking about how expensive it is. It is. They're expensive. And then the ones with multiple stories inside of them, like the Superman, the Batmans, they have multiple, so you pay an extra $1 for those. And I know it's like 2 backup issues. I'd buy that for $1. Yes, but also it's a lot of a lot. And can you imagine if you're also keeping up with Marvel at the same time, which is doing its whole King in Black and all of the 1800 X-Men books that it decided to launch? This is like, oh, I guess I'm just not eating this month because I decided to read every comic that there is, you know? Oh. Floppies is a foul name. I love that you said foul. It makes it so dramatic. Oh, no, I do read a lot of digital too. I read both physical and digital. It just depends what's easier to get my hands on. And sometimes reading the digital first, if it's something that you're into, you can decide if you want to pick up the trade or not. Because, yeah. Also, the space issue. There's only so much space that one has in one's life for things. You need to decide what you want to put into it. I feel like the confused John Travolta me. Oh, yeah. You know, keeping up with, for X-Men, I was keeping up for a bit, but then all of the 10 of Swords and everything going on, I was like, I'll come back to it. I'll catch up. And then I'm still trying to catch up. I'm still waiting to catch up. A hoopla account. What's a hoopla account? Lots of times when I talk about reading comics, people are like, just get Comixology Unlimited or insert thing. And I'm like, I am in Canada. We do not have such things. Not everything rolls out to, like lots of times things will roll out and they'll roll it up to the States, Europe. Oh yeah, isn't Canada a place? I guess Canada. So let me see. What are y'all saying? Well, I see some of you are using the sad Superman emoji. That makes me so happy. I've got a couple more emojis that I'm going to add to the membership tier. I found some really great ones that have made me very, very happy. So, oh, for those asking, I did watch WandaVision. I did watch it. I liked it personally, and it gave me a great excuse to, not that you ever need an excuse to talk about the various trades in your possession, but to spotlight one of the Scarlet Witch and Vision ones to dive into, to look at if you're interested in taking a look at the comics version of them. Before Vision Quest, before, you know, destroyed the marriage and the kids and all of that stuff. Happy times. I'm taking you back to a time of happiness. Some people wanted me to take you over to Vision, the Tom King series. At some point, because there's a lot to talk about. Toronto Library has Hoopla. I'm not in Toronto, though. I don't know if my library has it. I had House of M in the short. Oh. Please don't spoil. Oh, I won't be spoiling, mostly because you know me. I have, not that I don't enjoy adaptations, because I really do. And I enjoy live action things. But you know me, I made the choice to focus on comics. And so that's what I'm doing. And I have zero regrets, no regrets at all. It's so fun because there's so much out there. But you know, in the midst of all this future, there's no way I'm going to hit all of them because I've already gotten distracted. I've already scripted the WandaVision video. That's nearly done. I've got an indie thing, then another indie thing, then that elongated man that I ended up buying because they were like, hey, remember the elongated man? I'm like, yes. I always have a soft spot for characters who were created by accident because the company didn't realize that they owned the rights to Plastic Man. It's fine. Also, true story. That's why we have Elongated Man and Plastic Man. He didn't realize till after that they owned him. He's like, whoops. Also, how can you be mad at someone who got their powers from soda? One of my favorite retcons is how they tried to make that edgy later on. They were like, no, it wasn't the soda. He had a metagene and only certain people, even most people are actually allergic to the extract in that soda. I was like, listen, it's fine. You don't need to edge this up for me. It's cool. I think it's funny that someone got powers from soda. You don't need to sell me on this. It's all good. Yeah, Plastic Man and Deceased is horrifying. I saw the solicits. Also, the solicits for April, like, bummed me out. It was just like, do you want to read only Batman or do you want to read 18,000 Marvel books? I was like, I need to just keep reading the indie books that I'm reading, which are a lot. I'm reading Resident Alien, which is going to be finishing up very soon. And depending upon how it ends, it's going to get You've Been Sleeping on This video or not. Because it's one of those series where the ending could really make or break it kind of thing, where I would still have enjoyed it even if it flops at the finish like a Magikarp, but you know, I won't do that to you. I don't want to do that to you. I mean, of course, there's always the chance that whatever I like or dislike will disagree, but I at least want to be sending you to a You've Been Sleeping onto something I can say, like, I enjoyed that. I don't have to feel guilt about sending you in that direction. So where are the wigs? Show us the wigs. I can't. The wigs are downstairs. The wigs aren't up here. I've exiled myself to the attic of my home to do these videos. So the wigs live downstairs. For those who are wondering, yes, they are wigs. I live a very intense wig life. No regrets. It started because of quarantine COVID things, but yeah, I will continue to live it long after. This is my life now. I've accepted it. We need a wig tour. Oh, Lobby Warsaw. Hey, been meaning to ask, can you explain Kang the Conqueror? Big confused on his character. Thanks so much for the super chat. And yes, one day I long to explore Kang, because then you can also do the Kang Iron Lad thing. Kang got a mention in a recent video, so we are working up to it. He's mentioned because he's in Giant Size Avengers 4, which is the issue where Wanda and Vision get married. They piggyback. See, I'm calling her Wanda now too because they can't call her Scarlet Witch because they couldn't when they started. So now everybody's just like Wanda, and I've gotten into the habit of I've got to get back into saying Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch. Kang the Conqueror. Kang the Conqueror is a lot of lot. I could do it in one. It's just like I plan to do that Hawkman deep dive one day. I'm like, people are like, can you do it? And I'm like, challenge accepted. It's just going to take a while because I like to come with receipts. So I like to actually read all the issues. Like Dollman was a video that was in the works for a while because I had to search and find and like look for Dollman. Like I don't want to just tell you about Dollman's doll plane. I want to be like, plane this issue. Well, bam. There's still an issue where like a bare bottom doll man. I don't know, like the panel crossed my thing and I'm still trying to find it just because I'm so perplexed. I'm like, how did this make it past the censors? Someone tell me. I need to know this story. Yeah, you're late, but you made it. You made it, Vinny. There's a whole bunch of Golden Age people that I want to like. Namor. Okay, I can tell you about a video that it's been a long time coming. But it's like, it's one of those things that because I don't work on everything linearly. So it's one of those things that I come back to. Like every time I find a fact I need to add to it, I will add to it. It's a tapestry and it is the Namor and Sue Storm history video. And it was actually set off years ago because when Fantastic Four relaunched after being canceled and they brought it back in issue 2, and I think it was 2018 when they restarted. In issue 2, there was a little line. It was just one of those little tiny narration boxes. It was about Sue and Namor, and it said, yeah, that never happened. The fanfic is fun, guys, but it's not true. And firstly, misuse of the word fanfic, but we're going to let that slide because that would be a whole other thing. But it never happened. Challenge accepted. I was like, how dare you? I've been tracking this emotional affair for years. How dare you? So yeah, that's gonna be a video at some point. Didn't happen. Get out of here. Get out of here. Not only has it happened multiple times in the side verse, it is at the very least an emotional affair in the main verse. Dude, coming for me like that, it never happened. Don't get out of here. I've been reading Fantastic Four for a long time. Fantastic Four is one of those things that I love, but have yet to talk about really for some reason. I have them. I do. I have a question. Do you plan to cover the question? Yeah, at some point. I mean, I got those floppies. I've already forgotten the nicer word that somebody used, nicer in quotes. But yeah, so at some point, the question for sure, and the question's history and how he springs out of, once or supposedly trying to be, or he was supposed to be Mr. A. Mr. A is an intense read, by the way. Mr. A will kill you and not it's so fascinating. It's philosophically interesting to read Mr. A. No, I got into the question from the animated series, actually, because he was voiced by Jeffrey Combs. He was one of my favorite character actors of all time. Still is. He did all those great Lovecraft things, like Reanimator and Beyond. He was on Star Trek. He was Wei Yun in Deep Space Nine. Just, yeah, so good. And then, just tracked back and ended up falling backwards into the question in comics, basically. Are there any books from 2020 that spoke to you? I don't know. Okay, here's the thing. So I don't normally keep up. Like this Future State roundup and the keeping up with Future State is an oddity for me. I don't normally keep up this intensely. I'm doing it because I'm fascinated to see where it's going and to see if you can track what was originally supposed to be part of the original relaunch and that's been repurposed for this relaunch and just trying to figure out where things put. So it's fascinating for me on that level, but I don't normally keep up. So when people do those videos of my favorite books of 2020 is some of them are like old. There's stuff that I read ages ago or things that I reread. So like some of the things that spoke to me in 2020 are things from like decades ago. But I can definitely say like Harleen, I loved and I really enjoyed. And Stay Up on Stage watches my channel, which blows my mind every time he leaves a comment. you know, fangirl a little bit inside. I just think he's really talented and an awesome artist, and I enjoy his work. So that's super cool every time. I know that it wasn't something that everybody enjoyed as I covered it, but the Harley Black, White, and Red, I really liked the concept, and the concept of it definitely spoke to me. I'm gonna have to turn around to see like what else spoke to me. Are they on my shelf even? Because some of them are digitals for sure. Oh. I did read Deceased. I read Deceased, but I haven't kept up with all of it. Oh, there's like a little strand of like trying to get it out of there. You can't see my shirt, which makes me sad, but you'll see it in another video. It's another fantastic Nicolas Cage shirt from my collection of Nicolas Cage shirts. Most promising and least promising future state so far. Okay, that's a good question. Let's try and bring this back. This is another reason why I can't live stream aside from logistics. I am all over the place. Most promising to me so far has been Yara Flor. She seems the most mapped out and the most consistent and cohesive. And so that's enjoyable for me. I like the design. I like what they're doing with the character. I feel like the Wonder Woman mythos can sometimes need some help with direction. So she seems like she has that, and that's good. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they implement her. And I hope it stays fun and that kind of fun, flirty adventure action vibe that they've got going on so far. I've really enjoyed. Least promising. There's so many choices. I actually have them pulled up of so far. Oh, another really promising, strong one was one I haven't talked about, which was Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing was very, very strong. So let me go to what I've read, which was everything. Single issues. Ooh, Comixology. Okay. Because there were a bunch of them that were just okay. The standard for most of the books was, that was all right. And that was the thing that I read. I am neither sad nor angry, you know? Oh, the lady writes. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for every video you create. Always fun. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's the main goal here. The goal is that I want everybody to have a good time. And I hope that that always comes across. So, okay. Definitely on the bottom for me of the ones I've read so far. Superman of Metropolis. Oh, JP, thank you. Thanks for all the quality content. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm glad that it's appreciated. And thank all of you also for pointing out why I couldn't stand the Superman of Metropolis cover and pointing out that his arm was wonky and that was what was throwing me off about it. That one definitely left me with a lot of questions just about the morality of what was happening. And especially when you see how he's supposed to have evolved in the other stories after. I'm like, but he bottled the city. People, I'm not going to forget that he bottled the city. Another one, Future State Flash actually isn't on the bottom for me comic-wise. That's more of a meta annoyance than an actual, the comic itself wasn't good, because I try to separate those two things, like my personal feelings of what's bothering me about it on a personal fan level versus if the book itself was poorly constructed or narratively confusing or those things. So that one would still get a bit of a middling of the road from me at least. Kara Zor-El Superwoman just felt very much like it was in a different vein than the others. Brett Moon 26, thank you. I look forward to your daily videos. Thanks. Oh, thank you. A lot of you say they're daily. They're actually not. They are every other day. I don't know if it's good or bad that they feel daily. This week there will be a couple more than usual, just because I've been more on top of it, and also my youngest daughter is sleeping more, which means that I can do more. The more she sleeps, the more I can do. Kara Zor-El Superwoman just felt like it was a different genre. It felt very much like a kid's story, which wasn't a good or bad thing. It just felt different, vastly different than any of the others. Green Lantern was, it was okay. It was fine. Okay. Teen Titans. Teen Titans would definitely have to be, I think, for me, one of the ones on the bottom. And not because of the look what they've done to my boy, or look because they're all dead. There was this whole section there where all of the characters' names were like, hey, the 90s called, they want their names back. There was one called Totally Tubular. Oh, for Beleaguered Servant, thank you. We are all clamoring for Golden Age Dr. Fate post. Well, one of us, Dr. Fate's really interesting. Dr. Fate's one of those side, like I'm sure you've noticed that I like a lot of the side characters who don't get a lot of play. They can be very interesting, but they get swept up in all of the madness that is happening with all of the other stories. So that's kind of like, you know, with the crunching down of the comics, I get it, and that they have to do it and stuff, but it was nice to have random people get their own comics sometimes. Like, I always like seeing, like, oh wow, Zatanna's getting her own series. People care, you know? So that's why part of why I like to highlight those characters, because they have such a rich, interesting thing going on. And sometimes it's kind of nice to not have the spotlight be on them, because they don't have the same amount of baggage because of that, if that makes any sense. Where's my future state plastic? Future State Robin with Tim Drake. How do you all feel about them putting Tim Drake back into the Robin role? Because I have thoughts and feel. The next Batman. Did you enjoy the next Batman? I don't know why I pointed to it like a kid's thing. Like, did you? I did. I did enjoy the next Batman. That and the Dark Detective, I really like that too. And I was really happy for Mariko, because she's an author that I followed for a long time. She's and I've always enjoyed a lot of her work. And I know she got a lot of flack for people not liking how that I Am Starfire thing is looking. And I've always thought that she was really, really good. So I was really happy to see that people were enjoying that one from her, because she has a really good, like, since she started, like, all of the characters I've seen her on, from Supergirl, from Wonder Woman, just, she grasps them. So it was really cool to see that grasp. And the next Batman felt like which is a separate thing, different author, John Ridley, felt like a really good grasp on what he wants to do with that and with that world. So I enjoy when there is clearly meant to be a, like, I know what I'm doing, you know, like, I have a plan. There is a plan. There is a beginning, a middle, and an end. And that's always a good sign. That's a good sign, at least. Thomas Edard, thank you. Thank you very much for the super chat. There was one blip, and this was in Justice League, because Justice League was another book, and also another book where John was completely different from either Superman of Metropolis or or Superman / Wonder Woman, where they barely teamed up. So that was one where it got interesting with the characterizations as well. Isaac Koff, your videos always make me smile and laugh. What is your favorite Nightwing story and Lois comic? Thank you very much. My favorite Lois comic. Okay. I love Superman's girlfriend, Lois Lane. Like, I genuinely do enjoy it. Like, it's not just like, haha, I'm memeing on it. Like, no, I really like it. I enjoy it. I have a good time reading it. It's so ludicrous and does not match up to modern societal standards at all, that it's just like, it's a good time. I have fun. In terms of my favorite Nightwing story, I enjoy Nightwing as a character. In terms of pinpointing a specific story, I'm not sure if I could. I collect pretty much all the Nightwing runs, or at least I try to. Like, back there, I have the 90s run. I have Grayson. I have the Grayson Omnibus. I am going to pick up the New 52. That's right. I'm that committed. I'm getting the New 52 Omnibus. That's how much I love Dick Grayson. So, but I'm not sure. That's the thing with reading so much, is it's hard to pinpoint. Like, there are some things that stick out. And so when something really sticks out, that's what you know that it's really good. Randy Johnson, thank you. Keep up the good work. Hashtag blame Wally. Hashtag blame the Flash, because so many of the timeline shenanigans, they're always like, because they can time travel. Why can't we blame any of this on the Reverse Flash? He's the villain. He time travels all the time. I do actually at some point want to do a Reverse Flash kind of retrospective, because, okay, let me tell you a tale. So, you know, sometimes in nerd circles, we can be a bit pedantic with each other. We can argue a little bit about canon. Sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's not so fun. It really depends on what kind of discussion you get into. But, okay, so years ago, yeah, maybe like top 10 nerd days for sure. I did a video where I was talking about the Reverse Flash and how he used to be called Professor Zoom. And someone came from me and they were like, never. Professor Zoom is Hunter Zolomon, and that is Wally's Reverse Flash. And I was like, yeah, but no, they used to call him Professor Zoom back in the, it was a thing. It was like Professor Zoom, and then there was a little subtext that was like also known as the Reverse Flash, which we will eventually start using because it's just a better name. But yeah, they didn't believe me. And so it's like things from years ago, and I'm like, one day I'm going to make that video because I have the mentality of a supervillain. You know, 6 years later, it's like, you remember that innocuous comment from 6 years ago? I made an entire Reverse Flash video like a sane person. Thank you, you know? Oh, gosh. Because heroes are the real. Oh. Professor Zoom and Zoom. Exactly. Also, Hunter's all of the Reverse Flashes, actually, they do a good job of making them scary. Even Daniel West. Daniel West is just a great name. I think, you know. Does Professor Zoom sound dignified? I did that video on Wally, and no one even commented on the panel where Reverse Flash is phasing his hand through Iris's head and she's dressed as Batgirl. Like, nobody had any questions. I kind of love that. They were like, yeah, seems right. That seems correct. He came correct. I read that issue just because I saw the cover and I was like, why is he with Batgirl? And I was like, oh, it's Iris dressed as Batgirl. I don't know why I'm disappointed. I don't know what I was expecting, but you know. Card Captor 17. Thank you very much. Would you do a Starfire video or one on the daughter, Dick Grayson daughter, Nightstar? Potentially, for sure. Sometimes I read books and then I try and figure out how I'm going to work with them. Like, I just try and, you know, like, you want to figure out, and angle's the wrong word, but something that would make it interesting to people and that you could do a good title and stuff. Because obviously on YouTube, when you make a video, you want people to watch it. So you need to make sure that you can make it appealing for others. Maybe like, because Kingdom Come is a series I want to cover at some point. And that's how you come into the Nightstar stuff. So it could be interesting. Potentially when we get closer to I am not Starfire, because then it would be an interesting contrast to see the kind of different presentations over time of the offspring. That was another thing. So Teen Titans Future State. Some people were so happy just to see Dick and Corey occupying a panel that even though she's being awful to him the entire time, people were like, they're occupying space. They're breathing the same air. It's a miracle. How do you all feel about them bringing in Red X, like the bleed back of that? Because sometimes bleed back from the animated series can really work, because I find that the animated and the adaptations in general work the best when they have the confidence to do their own thing and just stand by it. And some of those creations and decisions, they come back better than others. Like Harley did. I'm not sure if Red X will. Like, we'll have to see how that plays out. Although the Harley burnout is 100% real. Like, there was a time when you could do a Harley video or talk about Harley and like everybody and their mom would show up. But now it's very much like, please stop. No more. This far, but no further. So now it's a punchline. Punchline's the new hot. And I am still keeping up with that. I'm keeping up with the trial. I've seen all of the theories that the Cullen is her brother, and not Cullen. Oh my God, as I mess up all the names, that her brother is the person dating Cullen. There we go. Red X is Hush. Oh, I had to do a roundup and finish up Hush, because I started and didn't finish. Same with Black Cat. Also, Black Cat's being relaunched now with a new #1. And I'm like, but it's the same creative team. You can't trick me. Booster Ghosh. Oh, thank you very much. Are there any tropes that you're exhausted with, such as death being more like a nap? Oh. Also, Card Captor 17. Red X's Red Hood's son from the future sent back in time. I don't know how I feel about that. As for tropes that I'm exhausted with, I more don't like when tropes are poorly employed. Like, I will take a trope or a cliche. Like, it can be very comforting. I don't like when they are badly implemented. And that's how I felt about them in the Spider-Man by J.J. Abrams. It was a bunch of stuff that was familiar, but it didn't come off. And I think the one that the useless self-sacrifice, I think that's definitely one of my least favorites, where the person sacrifices themselves and you're supposed to feel really, really bad, like feel bad. They did a thing. but it's not a meaningful sacrifice. It's a sacrifice to sacrifice. Like, it's a sacrifice where we didn't think much, but if there was any other way to do anything, it doesn't have the same weight or stakes as if it was thought out. So I think that's definitely one of the tropes and that story does that, where he injects MJ with it. And it's just like, oh, because sad. And I was just like, yeah, I don't know what I was expecting. But no, I do know what I was expecting. Omar Santana, I stopped reading comics in 2005, but I want you to keep informed. Kudos for holding to your love of comics and doing this channel while being a mom. Oh, thank you so much. Well, I don't know if watching me to keep informed is the best because I don't keep up, but I hope that you're at least having fun and enjoying comics, because that's one of the things, like, aside from having fun, like, I really do enjoy comics, and I want to bring that to people because there's still so much to enjoy, so much new stuff, so much old stuff. There's a lot of fun to be had, and it's easy to not focus on the fun bits. And there are some bits that are definitely not fun at all in many corners, but there's still a lot of fun to be had with it. So yes, enjoying many of the comics. Abram Spy, let's not speak of it again. Can you imagine if they do that sequel, Fred? If they actually come like, no, we're going to do the MJ and Son series. That went off the rails. You can tell that at some point behind the scenes, like, stuff went down. Sometimes you're reading things and you're like, there was an argument that happened here. I know that there was an argument, and I wonder what it was, you know? Where do you think Damien is in future state? I heard he was dead. That's what I heard. I heard that he was no more. Dylan. Thank you, Dylan. What's your opinion on Wiccan? Wiccan, you mean Marvel's Wiccan? Marvel, okay, I can't think about Wiccan and any of those characters without thinking about the intense amount of retcons that surround the Wanda, I'm doing it again, the Scarlet Witch and Vision's children. That's always what I think about. I always fall back at that quagmire of, wow, that was a mess. I should do a video on what a mess that was and how we got to them being real people again. Dark Teen Titan. Yes, I read it right. Thank you. I love your vids. They give me a lot of obscure characters to build on my Lego Instagram, where I make custom figures. Hopefully you'll see them one day. I have seen them. You tag me in them, and I have seen them. I've liked a couple of them. I think they're really cute. I liked the Ginger Supergirl one. That was really cute from when Supergirl was a redhead before we recolored that issue. Baby Wolf 42. Love your unboxing and book tour videos. Will you be doing more of those in the future? Thank you very much. I plan to do more casual things. As you see, I have a bit of a stagnant setup rig right now. But as things expand and as I'm able to have more free time as the girls get older, then I should be able to do some more of those, like, tour things and unboxing things. It's just those take a bit longer to film and to set up to be able to have the nice lighting and the time to do them. Mostly it's the time to do them, basically. I want to, though. I enjoy them. They're very casual and fun. I mean, the channel's name is Casually Comics. I feel like I'm not as casual as the name would imply at times. Mandela Butterfly. Thank you very much. Are there any Golden Age characters that need a comeback? Dollman. No, but seriously, I would really enjoy if Dollman came back as a similar style character to what he was when he first started. I think a lot of those characters had a really interesting potential and unique takes that you don't see in some of the characters these days, because there was just a simplicity to some of them that really work. Another one, Lady Phantom, like Phantom Lady. There are a few that I want to get more in depth into and just tell you about, and some just because they're fun to say, like Bullet Man and Bullet Girl. DTR Bell, thank you very much for the super chat. Love the Silver Age stuff. Why not more non-superhero stuff? Comics are vast. Comics are very, very vast. I mostly read superhero stuff. So basically, you're following me on the journey of what I'm reading. I mostly read superheroes. I read a bunch of the other stuff too. But also there is the issue of the algorithm, the ever-present algorithm. And when you're trying to grow your channel as well, you need to make sure that you don't do things that make it angry. And if you have a lot of videos in a row that don't hit, it gets angry and it doesn't actually promote them anymore. Just, yeah. Mr. 3/3, thank you. Do you think your kids will enjoy comics as much as you? I don't know. It's very hard to tell. They're very young right now, so anything could happen. Maybe they'll rebel, and that'll be their rebellion. They'll be like, no, Mom, I only want to read nonfiction essays. I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. So far, my oldest daughter is enjoying them and like some of the characters and the stuff. So we'll see how that turns out. It's going to be a while. Night 19. Thank you very much. How do you feel about Future State Green Lantern? That was okay. I thought it was kind of middle of the road, that and Book of Guy. It's one of those ones where if I end up giving it a dedicated video, I will probably do them together. Just a kind of like quick snippet for that roundup that I keep saying I'm going to do, but then probably won't end up happening. We'll see. It depends how much time there is. Isaac Koff, who is your favorite LGBTQ plus character? Also your favorite X-Men? Thank you for that. And also Lord Sidious, I'll read them both and I will answer them both. So let's talk about that Buffy omnibus that's behind you in all your videos that never talked about. So, I don't know. Whenever I'm asked like who my favorite character is, I always just blank on anybody who exists. But for that question, it's probably Midnighter and Apollo. I love Midnighter and Apollo. I think their comics are great. I was sad when their marriage broke up so that Midnighter could flirt with Nightwing. I'm not over it. I will never be over it. Get them back together, please. If they are back together, I missed it. And somebody please point me back in that direction. As for the Buffy book, at some point, because when you talk about continuations of TV series, you also have to be ready to get back into the TV series lore as well and talk about that. Because I also have a Farscape one. There's a whole bunch of continuations that I have, but you have to be ready to encompass all the lore when you're going to talk about a continuation of like an other medium show and the changes being adaptation and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a lot. Lobby Warsaw. Do you think it's possible to make an enduring character nowadays, like the new age of superheroes from Dark Knight's Metal? It's Lobi. Sorry. There we go. I'll say it right from now on. Lobi. You know I can't even say my own name according to some people. I think you can definitely make an enduring character. It's just seeing who sticks and who people like. So I don't think it's impossible at all, but I think lots of times it just happens. I feel like it's one of those things that just happens. Freddie B, you're really good. I use my DC Universe app a lot because of you. Thank you very much. And I'm sure they say thank you too, because they really want people to be on that app. They really do. They're like, every time I get ads, and I'm like, I can't stop sending me ads. Goddess of Whim 2003. Hey, Sasha, love your channel. Wish the bell would work. Yeah, me too. You seem to lean more DC than Marvel. Do you have a favorite of the two? Firstly, let me talk about the bell. Thank you very much. Let me talk about the bell. Okay, the bell, it's a YouTube glitch. And I talked to them about trying to fix it, and they don't know how. So they were just like, have you told people to unsubscribe and then resubscribe? And I was like, what? No. They're like, how about telling them to clear their cache? And I'm like, how about fixing the problem on your end? Okay. So they, it's just a glitch. They don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. So it's one of those things where I'm not sure if and when it will be fixed. I hope that it can be fixed because obviously I want people to get notifications and that when they are actually sent out, they do get sent out. So fingers crossed, eventually it's just some kind of back end thing and they do a patch or something and it fixes it for everybody. Do I lean more one way? I don't think so. I mean, in terms of enjoyment, no. In terms of enjoyment, no. I definitely don't have any partisanship, I guess is the best way to put it. Like there are some people who very much like make mine Marvel or all DC or all this. I don't feel that way at all. I definitely don't feel a need to support one more than the other at all. Sometimes I feel that can be a destructive attitude depending upon how far people take it. So no, I just like comics and I like reading all of them and I read what I feel like reading at the time, basically. Yes, I also manga. I manga a lot too. Let me see. Lawrence Perry. I don't know if this was asked, but did you like Future State Swamp Thing? Also love your content. The silliness keeps me sane. Thank you. I did talk about it. I did like it. I haven't done a full video on it, but Swamp Thing is a video that I do want to do at some point, just because the Swamp Thing, I think, has handled retcons very, very gracefully. And it's so easy to point out terrible retcons that it might be nice to also spotlight some smooth retcons. Smooth like butter. So we should do that at some point. Also, just Alan Moore's time on Swamp Thing is some of my favorite Swamp Thing of all time. It's really good. Vampires. Vampires fighting the Swamp Thing. It's great. Oh, thank you very much, Steph G. Thank you. I do like to be obscure. It just happens. Dark Teen Titan. Thank you again. I didn't make a ginger super bowl and got other people take inspiration from your vids like I do. I have made Zaplam. Yes. There are more Lois marriage videos, by the way, on incoming. Some people thought I was done. I'm not done. I'm not even close. And there's actually one in the back end that's just sitting there. I just haven't said it live. At some point, I will. And this one, oh, you know, if you think you've seen the peak of Jerk Superman, no, I'm so excited. It's so ridiculous. No, why? I love them together as a couple, but the Silver Age does not make any case for it at all. Not in the slightest. And it's fantastic. Elizabeth Moore, thank you very much. Can you cover the Beast Boy miniseries from 2000? I have not read that one. I haven't read it. I'll delay. First I need to see how expensive it is. And then I'll see if I read it. And if I see anything in it that's really interesting, then I might definitely cover it. Depends. I always try and cover things that I have something to talk about. Over on my Kofi page, I made a joke a while back about a segment called Mediocre Monday, where I just cover stuff that is mediocre, but I'm like, but that wouldn't be interesting. It would just be like, this was a thing that I read. It sure was okay. Yeah. Hey, Sasha, when do we get more Batman voice? Next, you know, probably soon. Probably if I do Dark Detective. Oh, is there a peak of Jerk for Superman? Definitely the Silver Age. But sometimes it creeps into other eras, and that's great. It's always really funny when it comes back, and it's like, oh, look, it's classic Superman. Oh. I think I saw someone ask about manga. I don't know, because manga is its own animal. Casually, marvelously, manga deserves its own channel. I need an alliteration to make that work. I know my Hellsting's been back there forever. My Berserks are back there. There's a bunch of stuff. My Promise Neverland is somewhere. There's a bunch of, my Trigun's back there. Oh my gosh, Trigun's in the shot. Trigun's never in the shot, but it's back there. There you go. Some people think I'm hiding. Oh, Acura is on the shelf too. Some people think that I'm hiding the other shelf. I'm like, no, it's just the lighting is better if I angle the camera that way. So, John Aquarius, thank you very much. I love your work. You're the best. Oh, thank you. I am not the best, but I appreciate the sentiment. So, Elizabeth Moore again. Thank you. It has Betty Kane. Oh, well, you know, I do enjoy me some Betty Kane. I also have finished, but have not posted because I'll now have to make an addition to the, to add the Omniverse to it, A Confusing History of Batwoman, the first one. Because I'm actually pregnant. There are a bunch of videos that I haven't posted that I'm still pregnant in because I ended up being able to work more after the baby than I thought I was going to. So there are still a bunch of pregnant videos. And I'm in this position where I'm like, do I go with them anyway and just post? Still, I probably will. I don't care. So it's fine. It wasn't a secret. Mr. 3/3 again, thank you. I sent your vids as evidence to my friends as to why Lois is for the streets. Your friend is a jerk. I love that Lois is for the streets has become a thing that people say on this channel. I feel like out of context, it sounds horrible, but it makes sense to us. We have our own jokes, and that's great. DDR Bell, thank you very much. Are there any characters you didn't immediately like but grew to love? That's a very good question. That is a very good question. Damien, but I don't love him, but he's definitely a character that I did not enjoy at all at the start. Like, I don't hate characters in the sense of like, oh, I never want to read them. I think they're awful. They're ruining everything. But there are definitely characters that I enjoy less than others. and the impact that they have, I enjoy less. Damian was one of those characters for a long time until they started to alter how he was written. The early Damian was very abrasive, and a lot of people were like, it's very cute. And I'm like, yeah, I love how he called Catwoman a tramp cute. That's what cuteness is. Cute is kids calling you tramps. But eventually, as they figured out how they were gonna like play with that personality and played up the insecure aspect and stuff, I came to like him a lot more. Like, I definitely would be sad if they've iced him out and he's dead. So that definitely shows that, you know, because he's not, though. I say that and I remember the solicitations that I read for April where he's getting his own comics. So get excited. If you want that, he's getting his own series. There you go. But Damian, yes. What about you? I want to hear from you guys. Are there any characters like that for you? Charles Washington. I've always wondered how many hours you read a day and how fast you read in general. Also, in case I missed it, thoughts on WandaVision. Thank you very much. I liked it, and I read a lot during the day. Like when you're at home, like with a young baby, there's not a lot to do during the day sometimes. So there's definitely plenty of time for reading, and I read fairly quickly. I'm a very voracious reader. So, and some of the comics, let's be honest, don't take very long to read. There are some that come out and they require a lot of attention and like focus on details, and there are others that you can literally read in 5 minutes. And that's another thing with the cost to benefit ratio, because if you buy something and you spend like $5, which currently for me is like $7 because of exchange rates and stuff, then, you know, and it takes you 5 minutes to read it, you really have to weigh the benefit of that. Like, how much enjoyment are you really going to get out of it? You know, like, I want to at least spend half an hour reading something, hopefully, at the very least. Jasmine Carter, can you do a video explaining the Bronze Age? Thank you very much. Maybe at some point. Maybe at some point. I know I keep bringing it up. So I did a Silver Age video a while back. So a Bronze Age would be a good companion. Initially, the plan was to do all of the ages, like an age for, you know, a video for every age. But, you know, as you do a channel and stuff, like, it evolves around you, and you adjust to what people are liking, what you're enjoying, all of that. And then, of course, life happened. 2020 was a year of life, wasn't it? Let's put it that way. So, but at some point, the thing is, I'm not sure. I don't like to promise specific videos unless I'm already working on them, because I'm just not sure. I'm not sure what's going to happen, if I'm going to be able to get to them. Life, who knows? Who knows? The intent is often there. You know, like, the spirit is willing, but the body is weak, you know, kind of thing when it comes to the amount of videos that I want to make. Because I also am currently editing all of them as well, which is, I love editing. So, like, my profession is an editor. So I love it. So I wouldn't trade it. I'd love it so much. That's one of my favorite part, is editing it more than anything. So, yes. Oh, I actually have coffee today, by the way, which is a rarity for these casual videos. I saved my coffee of the day. Yeah, you're on a wobbly surface, so if I touch it, it wobbles. It's not very secure over on this side. You will not get a behind the scenes of what's happening on this side of the screen, because it is very wonky. But Timmy's coffee, no. I thought you were a teacher. No, I am not. I am a new media editor. There we go. Let's put it like that. That's what I do. Edit. Editing is my trade. It has been since I graduated university. That has been my trade. Team T. T is good too. T is great. A teacher of comics. So, did I even ask you? If I did, I want to ask you again. I don't think I did. See, I'm so discombobulated. This is why I can't be live. Oh, and I should tell you first, because I only have a limited amount of time before my husband comes back with the girls. So I wanted to tell you, the word announcements is in this title, and this chair is really squeaky, but the word announcements is in the title for a reason. So I thought something that would be really, really fun and more focused than this, because we will have a focused, concrete topic. But I'm going to be starting a comic book club. So we're going to do a live stream starting once a month where we pick a book, and it's going to be something that hopefully will be as accessible to everybody as possible. And then we are going to come together and discuss it together. And I think it's going to be super fun. So how it's going to work is that I'm going to post the vote over in my members only section, so that we'll vote on what we're going to do. Then once that vote is done, we'll put the book in the main community post. So check back to the community tab. And then I will also announce the date that we'll do the live stream to discuss it. So we'll have more regular live streams and also be able to discuss a bunch of different types of books and the like. And I'm very excited, and I think that it is going to be very fun, and I'm looking forward to it a lot. The idea came to me the other day when I was listening to a bunch of live streams, and I realized how many live streams that I had been listening to and how much I was enjoying them, and I wanted to do something hopefully similar and fun that we can all enjoy. Yes. Beleaguered Servant. You can post your videos while pregnant is the confusing continuity of Casually Comics. That is a level of alliteration that I very much enjoy. Nobody else would get it, but I appreciate it. Let me see. Random question. Did you like the Perez run on Wonder Woman? Thank you, Lawrence. It's not my favorite. It doesn't knock my socks off. I know some people think it's like the most amazing run to happen of all time. I am not one of those people. I don't hate it. I don't worship it. I'm somewhere in between. I believe that I saw a question from Steph G. Yes, I did, about Hickman and what's going on there. That is a lot. That is a lot. That there's so much. There is. I like Hickman in general. Like, I liked his Avengers. I liked his Fantastic Four. I'll have to see how this all shapes up to see how I feel ultimately about his X-Men. I am Awakefy. I probably did not say that right at all. I'm sorry. But thank you very much. Will you cover Kindred of Spider-Man? That's been interesting, hasn't it? The recent run on Spider-Man. Spider-Man, again, it's something that I read consistently. I've actually been keeping up with Spider-Man. So probably at some point, there's an interesting comparison to be made between Spencer's Spider-Man and Dan Slott's Spider-Man that I think is worth talking about for sure, because they have very different approaches. And it's very interesting to see when a person comes on and says they actually don't like the alter ego of a character versus when somebody comes on who does. So that's been very fascinating to witness. Edsgaru. Former request for a video on Hal Jordan's booty to join the Power Girl series and Nightwing booty masterpieces for science, of course. Thank you very much. And so there used to be a blog on LiveJournal, was it? Yeah, it was. And it was dedicated to Hal Jordan's butt and also him being clumsy and falling over all the time. And it was hilarious. And I think it still exists if you look it up somewhere. It was a good time. It was a fun time back in the day. Fun times on LiveJournal before LiveJournal died. It's not dead, but it's definitely nowhere near as popular as used as it was back in the day. Travis T. Do you want to see Babs return as Oracle? Brackets, you rock. Thank you very much. Thank you for the super chat. I think Babs is back as Oracle, like currently right now in the he says his name so much differently than I want to say it. Tynan run on the book. I've seen that, and from the promos I saw of post Infinite Frontier, it looks like that's the role that they've put her in. I enjoy Barbara's Oracle. I do. I feel like we need to let the other like Batgirls have their chance, because I feel that she brings a lot more to the table as Oracle. But part of that was because of the history she came with. Just making her Oracle again isn't necessarily the same thing. I don't feel like it has the same impact. Although I hope that we're sticking with that characterization and not the characterization that was there, say, for example, in the last tales of the multiverse from Dark Knight's Death Metal. Because she's real abrasive in those stories, in my opinion, at least. I personally didn't enjoy that characterization very much, so I'm hoping that we have the other one instead. I'm going to say it right this time. Lobi. I did it. If you do the Hal Jordan butt stuff, can you do a video on Wonder Woman's Bondage Association? I definitely want to do that video on Wonder Woman's Bondage. Again, the spirit is willing, but the body doesn't have that much time during the day. because there was a fascinating time when not everybody was as aware of the BDSM elements in Wonder Woman. And so the way they review it is very different than the people who are aware of it. And that's a fascinating dissonance to witness between people who are like, I'm aware of this subculture and I see you and I see what you're doing, to people who are like, look at the subjugation and the awfulness and like the mistreatment. And so it's you have some very different takes, and it's fascinating. And now I'm thinking about all those leaked Army Hammer texts that came out. Eat your heart. Card Captor 17. Do you think Corey X Dick have a chance to be in the canon, or are they only in fans' dreams? Okay, so in the last stories of the multiverse, they had Babs and Dick get married. So they, like, Batman married them. He just stood there and was like, I'm a priest now because it's the end of the world. You're married. And so I'm not sure. It doesn't feel like behind the scenes there's that love for Dick and Corey that a lot of fans have. That's always been a back and forth. Like, who should he be with? Can I be controversial and say neither? That's real controversial. Putting all the controversial hot takes in the live stream. I think you can write either well, but I also wouldn't cry if the answer was neither. James Perez. Do you have an opinion on the movie Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman? I loved it before I knew anything about Diana. I have not seen it. I haven't seen it. All of my research on Marston comes from like academic papers, like his own papers, his own works and stuff. I haven't seen the adaptation. I think it's on a service that I probably subscribe to. So at some point I might watch it. But with biopics, you know, you're always playing that bit fast and loose game with biopics of how it's being presented and what is the mindset that's trying to be presented with the person. Because the way he thinks about women is very interesting. It's fascinating. It's both slightly progressive and incredibly of his time and tied to his kinks. So it's very, very interesting. But there seems to be a slant right now very much pushing forward that like he was like the equivalent of a modern era feminist. I'm like, he really wasn't. Then that's not a bad thing. He has a very unique viewpoint. And I, for one, find it very fascinating. Dude Abides, 1985. Is that a Big Lebowski reference? I sure hope it is. Which Catwoman outfit would you most likely wear to a con? If I was the type of person who cosplayed, the one that's the zip up leather jacket, because it seems the laziest and the cheapest. That's the one that I would do. Clever Cape. I just want to say thank you for the content. Keep up the good work. Also, do you think we'll see DC see the haha still here from the Batman who laughs solo? I don't know. Can I say that I kind of hope we're done with the Batman who laughs? I liked him when he first showed up. And even though the design is very reminiscent of Judge Death and a bunch of other things, and it's not the newest or most original idea, I was having fun with it. But then he was everywhere. I felt it was very much oversaturation. Too much of a good thing. I liked it, so I thought it was a good thing. If you didn't like it, it was too much of an already bad thing. But I could do without seeing the Joker for a few years too. And I love the Joker, but he can go take a nice vacation if he would like. And maybe we get some Riddler action. I enjoy the Riddler. There's any other big Riddler fans out there? Can the Riddler step into the front and have some time to triumph in a non-weird, hush, animated capacity? Goddess of Whim, 2003. My ships are Babs X Dick, Bat Cat, and Starcat. Oh, Star-Lord and Kitty Pryde. Oh, I legit forgot that was a thing, and I own those comics. That is probably not the best sign in the universe. What are your ships? Who are my ships? Like what? So many. I have a lot of ships. So many. I am very I'm pro shipping. I mean, I'm not pro bad behavior in any level of fandom, but I don't think you should judge any like sort of fandom by its worst elements. I don't think that's fair. But I have so many. I'm a big shipper. Love it all the time. Oh, wow. I can share one with you. Bat Lantern, Hal Jordan and Bruce Wayne. Does that make any sense? No, it doesn't. I don't care. I have evidence and I have things that I've pulled out that make it make sense. New 52 mostly. No shame in my game. We do everything here. Ship and let's ship. So what got you into comics? I was and still am a big Spider-Man fan, says Kitsune Kun 2. On this channel, we ship Captain Cool / Heatwave Beleaguered Servant. I have a video for Kitsune of what got me into it. I got two actually, and it was largely some of the comics that my dad had lying around when I was a kid. Catwoman, Witchblade, that definitely got me into it. Also, I can't stop thinking about Captain Cold and Heatwave, because when you read some of those old comics, seriously, the dynamic's hilarious. It's Heatwave, like, I'm so glad that we're friends and we hang out. And Captain Cold, I can't wait to usurp him. One day, Heatwave, one day. It's so good. Chris McDade. I probably didn't say that right, but thank you. Thank you for all your great content. Thank you. Thank you. Thank all of you for all of the support. It's been amazing and so fun. One of my favorite things when I post is I go and I love to read the comments. I love to see what you guys have to say. You guys have some great jokes. You know, I love me some terrible puns and jokes, and they're down there, and it's always such great fun. Y'all are a great bunch. You're a great bunch, and I'm so proud of this community. But it's really, I've been having a great time, so it really makes me happy when I hear that you have been too. That makes my day. It makes me smile. Big smiles on. I laugh at everything. You know, on last live stream I did, people kept asking if I was high, and I'm like, no, I just high on life. I'm just happy. I don't know. Baseline happy for the most part, I think. Oh, but who else do I ship? Now I'm just thinking about it. I love that I've written fan fiction. I was a fangirl before I was as deep into comics as I am. It's it's part of who I am. Whatever. Dimagini. Thank you. Hello there. Love the channel. I'm sorry I couldn't pronounce your name. Nicholas Campola, I love your videos. It has been a stepping stone for me to get interested in comics and has helped me find some amazing personal gifts for my friends, like Day Tripper for my Brazilian friend, Harleen for my coworker. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you're finding stuff that you enjoy. I love spotlighting the indie stuff. I guess I can tell you because I'm going to post it. I make a joke in one of the videos that I'm about to do about how please let me do a segment called Indie Spotlight. But I've already scripted it, and I am going to do it. I am going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm really excited to do it. Mechasaurus, here's a small donation and thanks for many fun videos. I ship Lois Lane with the DC Universe. Thank you very much. Wonderbat forever. Lobi, I said it right again. I'm learning. She can be trained. Wow, that sounded wrong. Reading too many Army Hammer texts. John Aquarius, how about the entire Gotham villains take a vacay and Batman solves actual crimes going back to the pulp age? You know, some old pulp noir stuff, the next Batman had a tiny bit of an edge of that, and I enjoyed that. It also had a very 90s Batman vibe. Like in the 90s, Batman was very big about seeking out the people in some of the lower income areas and helping lift them out. Like he would, instead of fighting people, he would scare them and then try and track them down after and maybe try and offer them a job at Wayne Enterprises. And also he would show up there as Bruce Wayne and actually talk with them and be like, hey, there's a really great Robin issue where he shows up and he's like, hey, listen, I know that we don't have the exact same experiences, but I've been through some hard stuff too. I would love to try and help you, and, offers them a job. And that's one of my favorite issues. Like Bruce Wayne is complicated, and there have been many characterizations over the years, and sometimes I feel like only the more recent years get play, which is too bad because I really miss sensitive, caring, like Bruce Wayne, who had issues, yeah, but wasn't the walking disaster that he's definitely become in the modern era. But that's just my opinion. That's just me. Comic Book Kid 210. How childproof is your space, and how would you save your hubby from Lois Lane? Thank you very much for the super chat. My space is not the most childproofed. Like, no, like when she comes up here, it's just me following her around to be like, no, don't touch. But I like sharing with her. I'm usually up here with her, so it's okay. There's nothing dangerous or anything up here. It's just the risk of, things tearing, which is very large, or things being colored upon, which happened with all my Teen Titans issues. And I opened it, and it was just scribble, 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 scribble. And, but that happened. You have to accept that risk when you let your kids into your hobby space. Something will break at some point. As for saving my husband from Lois Lane, the only way to save anybody from Lois Lane is to become Lois Lane. I'll need to get that Plastomold machine from Darnell and turn myself into Lois Lane, or just say that I turned myself, that I was Lois Lane and used it, and now I look like this. Bam! Husband saved. The Plastomold machine is still one of the things that stays with me forever. Like, I love you, Lois, and you're my perfect woman, except what if you looked entirely different and I changed your body type? That'd be great. Let's try that. ERX, day first. What's up, Sasha and chat? Peace and love from Los Angeles. Thank you very much. Peace and love back from Ontario, Canada. Canada. I don't know why, but whenever I say I'm from Canada, sometimes people are surprised. Have you tried giving your kid a color? My kid has coloring books, but I mean, why color in a coloring book when you can color in a comic book? Kid logic. Salazar Art Nation. For indie comics, I recommend 9 Volt Comics. They do anthologies. Oh, I love a good anthology. You know who else? Future Shock. Future Shock does a lot of anthologies too. And they do the sci-fi stuff and the black and white stuff and the British stuff. I do like a lot of British comics as well. My dreads are over on the far end of the shelf over there next to my Lucifer and Hack and Slash, one of the rare comics on the shelf that is not mine, but is my husband's. And it's like, I've got my comic shelf, put them on there. There were, when we first started dating, there were some comics, like we had overlap. That was super cute. Like we had like his and hers Watchmen for a bit because we were super lame. And then we moved and it was like, oh, we don't need both. So I gave one to my dad. That was a story that I told you, just like Future State. I feel like this has been a very unsuccessful roundup that I haven't talked about them enough, but that's, you know, it's too much. I feel that like for an average person, like 22 books, like I'm not mad, right? Like that's a lot of books to expect people to read. So I'm starting to get the sense that they don't expect you to read it. Like, is that just me? That's just the vibe I'm getting. It's the same with like all the X-Men books. I'm like, you're not actually expecting me to read like, are you? Are you actually? Because no one's doing that, right? I don't know. Like some people are. I'm trying to. Like, I don't know. Am I gonna get statues? Oh, I can't afford to get into the statue game. I'll just watch people like Gem Mint unbox statues and just live vicariously through all his Berserk statues. There was that amazing like Femto Berserk statue that was unboxed. I was like, in some universe somewhere, there's a Sasha who collects statues, and that's the thought I'm going to live with, so that I don't buy any. Because one time I looked once. I was like, let me go look. It'll be for fun. Like $800 and like stuff a statue. Like, no, I wish, but no, not for me. I can't. Dragon Water. Just because your general content is interesting, and this is the first live stream of yours I've caught. Oh, thank you very much for the super chat. It's the first live stream of 2021, but not the last. As mentioned, book club. It's all going to come together. It's going to be like this, but slightly more streamlined. And depending on what book it is, sometimes I'll be holding it. Like, ooh, like I could have so easily had a book to hold in this, but now I have to turn and the chair is squeaky and I don't want to. And my X-Men is too far away from me. Sometimes when I set up to film, there's a comic that I've been reading and it's on the floor and I don't realize until I film that it's in the shot. And I'm like, it's not worth it. I'll just leave it there. It's fine. Steph G Secret is out. Sasha is Lois Lane of Earth 47. Or is Lois Lane the Sasha of Earth 0? It's no longer the Prime Earth. Our Earth isn't the Prime Earth. We will have to see how the Omniverse goes. I think canon is important, and I'm going to do a hot take. And I agree with you, Mechasaurus, for saying that. I think it's Future State, some road testing things. It totally is. I love canon. I think canon is rewarding, and I know that arguments about canon can be pedantic and annoying sometimes. Definitely, like we've been there, but I think canon's important. I think canon is rewarding. I think canon speaks a lot to legacy and history, and I would rather even have a canon in place that I don't like and rail against than nothing. Because I think that there can be a strength in nothing, but I feel like it's going to be like that psychological principle where when you have lots of choices, you choose none. you know? Whereas you go to, like, there are too many options, so you choose none. I think there is potential for it to be a very strong idea, but I also think that there is potential for it to be very poorly realized and to vary greatly in quality, and for some characters to fall completely off of base model. So again, we shall see. We'll see. And also I see Simon Baz. I know, where's Simon at? Where is Simon? I like Simon. I like Green Lanterns. There's only like I have, like, of course I'd rank them, you know, like I have my faves and I have ones that are, you know, less fave of mine. But Simon's up there in the top of faves. He's definitely not at the bottom. I know who's at the bottom. Teen Lantern's at the bottom. I don't know why I hesitated like that. Like, someone's gonna come for me. They're gonna kick down the door over there and be like, who's talking smack about Teen Lantern? I'm not. It's just Teen Lantern, I think, needs some work. That's all, you know, it's fine. Not everybody loves every character. It doesn't need to be that deep. Not everything's that deep. I'm checking because my husband's gonna send me an alert when they're on their way back so that I can be prepared to go down and be a mom again. Oh, Christina, are you asking if Hal Jordan's my bottom? Wow, is Hal Jordan my bottom? You know what? It's not appropriate. The stream just stopped being appropriate. Hide your kids. Oh. Leave Teen Lantern alone. Who is Teen Lantern? Okay, Teen Lantern is this lantern who, like, hacked the Oa base to get a ring. It's one of those precocious child prodigy characters. Oh, for the question about the trope from earlier, that's a trope that I guess I struggle with. Precocious child prodigy. It's okay. It's not as fun to deal with in real life as, you know, they present it as in fiction. Jojo, how many issues do you read a day on average? You cover a lot of stuff. For me, it depends. I can plow through modern comics fast, but older comics can take me ages. By the way, comic book tour soon. Thank you very much, Jojo. And I read at least a comic a day, I'd say. Like, at least. There's rarely a day that goes by that I haven't read something, because I have so much in my Comixology, or like stuff that it's mostly, a lot of it's digital now, because when it comes to what I'm actually collecting, there's, you know, there's space, there's the monetary thing. I only just finished collecting all the Green Lantern by Jeff Johns down there and stuff. So a lot of it is like back issues that I'm just picking up and reading. I only just read Jupiter's Legacy by Mark Miller. I always want to say Mark Millar. But I do agree that I do find the modern stuff, a lot of it is a faster read. And that was part of why I've actually enjoyed some of the young adult DC novels, because they've taken me longer. And I've read most of them. I read young adult stuff. No shame in my game. Like, it's interesting. I feel like lots of times young adult these days isn't even necessarily always geared towards young adult. It's more like a style or genre, the way that some people employ it, which I'm not sure if is the best or not. But also, I like to read them because I like to know, you know, I want to know what my daughters are potentially going to be reading. I like to stay in the loop. It's the same reason that I keep an eye on TikTok. I like to know what's happening in the cultural zeitgeist. I want to know what songs are popular. KJ Valdez, what are your thoughts on New 52 Starfire? Thank you very much for the super chat. And okay, New 52 Starfire, I feel like suffered a lot from the lack of internal memos at the start. And so it just kind of bounced her around a lot as to what they were doing with her. And then she had that mini series that felt very disconnected from everything else. I feel like she very much suffered from the New 52 disconnect, and also the lack of legacy hurt her, because it's like, oh, she's here, but like in some issues she has that history with Dick, but she doesn't. So now she's dating Jason, but isn't. And so it ended up making it messier, I feel like, than it needed to be. Tuba is the one. Have you read the Milestone Return 0 issue? I have not as of yet, but I did pull out some of my Static Shock and stuff from back in the day, and I was like, yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy that some of those, like Rocket and stuff, I'm looking forward to the return of some of that stuff. Icon, yay! Do you like the Arrowverse? Some of it. It depends. It varies. It varies. Yeah, Jason. Oh, speaking of characters who completely get assassinated all the time, Roy Harper. Poor Roy. Oh, what happened? You know, because what happened to Wally, people pay attention to it, but fewer people pay attention to what happened to Roy. And also, like, from the beginning, like, even that issue, that infamous issue with, you know, I'm not a ward, a junkie, he is used as such a prop in that issue. Like, when I eventually get to reviewing that issue, like, people don't realize how much of a non-entity he is in that story. He's very much just there, like, to be like, well, you know, he's suffering from side character syndrome. He's just there to be like the emotional driving force, but it has very little to do with him. Most of the development that happens like that for him happens after that. Then people build on that and they're like, hey, that thing that happened with Roy was pretty messed up. Hey, remember how even though this whole series was about talking about how awful Hal Jordan was, he was the one who tried to get him help and rehab along with Black Canary? I remember. I'm not okay. I'm not okay. This story from this Hard Traveling Heroes. That's part of Hard Traveling Heroes. I'm not okay. Rich Meister 84. Sasha, enjoy your vids. Oh my God, I can't talk anymore. Sasha, enjoy your vids. My questions aren't comic related. Curious how many wigs you own, the story behind your eyebrow. Is it scar or fashion choice? Well, thank you very much for the super chat. I have to count my wigs. I think that's you know, that's probably an embarrassing admission, but I need to count them. And is the scar or fashion? It's a scar. It's a scar. Some people think I cut it in because I realized recently in the last few years it's become like a cool like thing that people do. No, it's a childhood injury. When I was a kid, I smacked into the edge of a cupboard and it cracked my head open. And when they took me to the hospital, they, instead of using steri strips, which are those little like pieces that pull a wound back together, the doctor decided to use stitches instead. And so because he used stitches, they became it became a permanent scar, which I've always really liked it. I do think it's cool. But so I always leave it open and uncovered. When I used to do some of the videos I've done before when I was hosting, people would like, you have to color it in and like cover it. I'm like, no, why would I cover my scar? I love my scar. I mean, my scar is part of who I am, you know? I wouldn't change it for the world. Accidentally fashion. Yeah, I know, right? People ask me a lot where I get my wigs. I get a lot of them off of Diva Tress, not Spawn. They don't even know I exist. But I get a lot of them off of Diva Tress. They have good prices, reasonable rates, lots of different styles. For those who want like to have like closer to their natural hair, because like they have the various kink gradations. They got that too. It's great. You know, I have some that are closer to my own natural, like hair texture and stuff, as well as all of the straight ones I have. You can pick up pretty much anything. DDR Bell, are you into the animated movies? Will you watch Amazon's Invincible? I will. I liked that they kept the twist back in the trailer. That made me really happy. So Invincible is something that one of my colleagues got me into, and they're like, read it. It's good. I promise. You got to stick with it. And I was reading and I was like, this is okay, but you hyped it up a lot. Are you lying to me? Are we no longer friends? But then when I actually got to the twist, I was like, okay, I appreciate you from withholding it for me. I really enjoyed that. I don't think Invincible's flawless. I also need to pick up the third compendium. I only have do I only have the first one? That's how far behind I am. I need to go, okay, I need to pick up the second and the third compendium. But Invincible's one of those works for some people who love it. They really love it. And I get it, but I do think it's flawed. I think that Kirkman in general, and you see this in Invincible and also in The Walking Dead, has issues with pacing. And also with certain plots. Like sometimes he'll start a plot, lose interest in the plot, and then just abandon the plot. And then like 30 issues later be like, oh yeah, that was a plot and I like it again. So that's definitely a thing that happens. DJ Wally West, that's amazing. And I want to yell it. DJ Wally West, thank you for your great content. Was going to ask which collection was bigger, your wigs or your comics, but some asked right before I hit send. Thank you for the super chat. And it's definitely the comics. That would be like 100. Oh my goodness. I don't know if my husband would stand for that many wigs. He already side-eyes the amount that I have to start. Yeah, like, okay, I'm glad that some of you are with me on Invincible, because I'm always scared when I say that. Okay, it's like I have to be scared when I ever say anything less than glowing about anything Grant Morrison's written, because there is a cult behind the Grant Morrison works. And it can be intense. The thing that's annoying about that too is that the first go-to is often like, you just didn't understand it. It's like, no, I got it. I didn't like it. It's like, no, you didn't understand. And it's okay. It's like, no, I understood. I didn't like. Stop. Let me have my feelings. Let me speak. Oh. A new wig for every comic I have. Oh my God. I ship Clark and Lex. Clex for life. Oh, Smallville for life also. I have all of Smallville. I'm Clex all the way. All day, every day. Jay Parker. Thank you so much for the super chat. I have no question. Just wanted to give you money. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. You know what it's going to go towards? It's going to go towards more content, more videos, and maybe definitely more content, more videos for sure. It definitely helps cover the cost of things like Future State. Next week is the Catwoman train heist, by the way, which I don't know if there's any clamoring for that, but you know. Let me try and pronounce your name correctly. Noel Nakama. Do you read webtoon webcomics, and have you read Lore Olympus? If not, I totally recommend it. I don't dip into webtoon webcomics as much as I have the app too, but I don't dip into them as much as I should. But you know, I'll definitely keep that recommendation. I don't know when I'll get to it because I'm reading so much, but thank you very much. I definitely need to read more. And they also have a lot of the like tropey anime style things that I'm into because I read some yaoi nonsense when it comes to manga, like a lot of it. Have any of you read that one by Kondasha where it's like two like male dancers who are just like partnered together are like, they're two male dance leads and they're dancing and I'm like, and I'm buying it. There's another one about fencing where it's like they're all on a fencing team and they're rivals and I'm like, and I'm buying it. Like manga is one of those things where pretty much like whatever the premise is, I'm like, I'm buying. Food wars, you know? He makes food and there's lots of cheesecake jokes that are really sexual and you also get a recipe every issue and I'm like, take my money. Have you read any SCPs? Yeah, I have. Oh, I'd like Secure, Contain, Protect. Gray 1213. Hey, Sasha, what was the origin of Speedy being called Speedy? Why wasn't Kid Flash called Speedy? You know what? That's a really good question. I should look into that. I do not know the answer to that. I don't know. Also, Speedy, because like it makes me think about drugs. I'm not gonna lie. That's probably terrible, but it does. Travis T, you should do a Smallville video. Did you like season 11? Season 11 is the comic book continuation for those who are unaware. Not as much as the show. There's always, you know, when you transfer over, there's always that bit of a disconnect. And for me, like the comics never really bridged that, but I enjoyed seeing more in that universe. So I have them, but it's not quite the same. Like, Michael Rosenbaum as Lex is great, by the way. I think he's my favorite Lex of all of them. And the fact that he also voices the Flash in the DCAU, great, perfect, love it. He has a podcast, by the way, and it's fun. And he interviews a bunch of like his co-stars and like other superhero people. Just like last week, he did Tom Welling. That was a lot of fun. I listen to a lot of podcasts. They're super chill. It's just one of those podcasts that's like two friends talking. And I really enjoy those. So yeah, if you're into that and you like Michael Rosenbaum, then that's a podcast that he has and it's on YouTube and you should watch it. And he interviews all kinds of different people from the Arrowverse and the like, and you might enjoy it. There you go. The Smallville show is terrible at the end. Oh, haters gonna hate Eric Wars. I didn't mind it. I don't know. Like, it wasn't the same as at the start. Like, yeah, there's definitely a shift, but, you know. Ugh. I'm sorry about this chair, by the way. But at least I have a chair. In all of my videos, I'm sitting on the floor. So this is definitely a step up. There's a chair up here. My husband moved it up here for me. Huzzah. Dragon Water. Do you have any opinions on why Tim Drake erased in the modern animated movies? Okay. There's this like battle, I feel like, behind the scenes sometimes between like Drake. I'm calling him Drake. Oh my God, I can't believe that just happened. Between Tim Drake and Damian. And like which one should, sometimes it feels like there's an attitude of like, we don't need both. So, and depending, because Damian is like the biological son, I feel like sometimes that's the reason that he wins out. I need to do a video about how Grant Morrison messed up canon, and that's why Damian has that rape origin that he has. That's going to be a video and a half. Light Danger. Where did you get the black and iridescent wig? Thank you very much for the super chat. And Divatress. I got that off of Divatress. Pretty much all of them. That's where I get them from. That brand was called Zurisis. Yes. Let's see. Yeah, I know. I think there's room for, I'm one of those people though who's like, let all of the characters be characters. And also I don't feel that they need to fight each other. Like there was this line, I think it was Future State Justice League that was like, this Batman saved the city when Bruce Wayne couldn't blood. I was like, don't pit them against each other like that. Like there's no need for that. Don't make my Batman fight. I want all the Batman. Give me all the Batman. Dylan Duffy. Oh, thank you for the super chat. I did answer that question. It was asked earlier, and it was Midnighter and Apollo. But Midnighter and Apollo, because did you know that they are meant to be oh my God, the word's eluding me, but like pastiches of Superman and Batman. So it's kind of like a canonical super bat that's happening, and it's very tongue-in-cheek. And there you go. Ruben Gonzalez, what's your fave Superman Batman story? And keep doing lives. Thank you very much for the super chat. And it is the first Superman/Batman 2003 from the President Lex storyline that was also adapted, and it is the shippiest comic you will ever read, to the point where their thought balloons are finishing each other's thoughts. It's all like, he is darkness and he is light, and it's not meant to be that way, but oh boy, can you read it that way. And it's also just a really fun story, and it really highlights the whole like we're different but we're friends element. I loved the Superman/Batman series that started in like 2000. They're all back there. I love them. I might transfer over to the omnibus at some point, but the omnibus, but we'll see. It's hard. It's hard to make that decision because, cost, and are people going to want to buy it? What are you going to do with it? I'm definitely getting the JLI omnibus though. That's for sure. Matthew Salavaria. Can you do a confusing history of the Golden Age Wonder Woman's daughter, Fury? Flashback, she is also mother of Daniel Hall, aka Dream of the Endless. Yes, I did know that. And the whole second crop of heroes over on Earth 2 are interesting. And they have their own book, actually. Like because that was the Earth where for a time they were allowed to age and have legacy. So it's always interesting to see throughout the ages the different ideas of what that legacy would look like. That's really fun to track. I find that very interesting because comics reset so often, you're pushed back to the core status quo of characters. To look at the different versions of like what that would look like is really cool in my opinion. Did we not, Dragon Water, did we not get all of the Batman and Batman Brave and the Bold? We did, didn't we? I also love Brave and the Bold, by the way. That's a fun show. My daughter loves that show too. That's a lot of fun. That one has a lot of cute, actually, the thing about Batman Brave and the Bold that is super fun is that it also does homages to the Silver Age. There are some great, there's an episode where they use several of the panels from Silver Age Superman of some of his like jerkiest issues, and it made me smile very much. Like the one where he's sitting on the throne with the crown. That issue is sadly not as interesting. It's actually where he's split into two people. So it's like there's a Clark and there's a Superman, and then one of them becomes like ruler of Metropolis because his Superman personality is the jerk one. It's pretty fun. Kier Alexander, I don't know how to send money. Well, thank you for the super chat because I think you just did. I hope that wasn't an accident. Batman x Wonder Woman, Wonder Bat, all day, I tell you, I can find reasons to ship everything and anything. So I'm a thirsty person. I'm a thirsty individual. I have water too. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, Batman Brave and the Bold did have a nice ending. It also, I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about a show that I like that I know that a bunch of you don't. And like, if I say it, you'll be like, how dare you have no taste? I don't care. Oh my gosh, I just read every major Hulk comic from 1962. Oh, that's a commitment. That is a commitment. I love the Hulk. A. Ingleby, what is your opinion on Grant Wilson? And do you think he will ever come back to the DC universe? Love your channel. Thank you very much. And they sure do like to forget about Grant, don't they? Grant is one of Deathstroke's children, and he does not get any play because they're like, he's not as interesting as Rose. Poor Grant. And he's not as interesting as Rose or Jericho. So we're like, Grant, do we need him? I don't feel like they're going to make a big highlight with Grant. Not when they have Jericho. I feel like there's a lot more they can do with Jericho. So that also, it's just fun to say Jericho. But yes, there is a third child. Rug, it's fine, Saturday. No, you have no taste. I know, Queen of Trash. You know, my nickname at work while I was working was the Queen of Trash, which should be insulting, but it isn't because they know me. So, so it's fine. Greetings from Chile. Who would you say is your favorite Robin character and why? I love your content. I wait for it every week. Thank you very much. And favorite Robin, classic Robin, Dick Grayson. But I love that he's moved past it. After that, probably Tim as Robin. I feel like Tim works well as Robin. Damian, I loved as Robin when he was against Dick Grayson. That was a lot of fun because it was like an inverse of the dynamic where it was like fun Batman and kind of like dark brooding Robin. So that was a fun one, even though he's pretty roughly written in some of that. But I think most of the Robins have something to bring to the table. The thing is that because we're not moving the timeline forward, now it makes Bruce look real shady. That he just has all of these kids. Like, what do people think? Like, what do the gossip tabloids look like in Gotham? I want to know what they say about single Bruce Wayne and like his constant adoption of like these young children. Like, I have so many questions. Probably nothing good. I'm sure nothing good has come of that. Dragon Water. Thanks to Batman, the Brave, and the Bold, I want Damian to be Bruce and Catwoman's child. Well, I mean, we have before that, and the other we had Helena. I say it both ways, just like Kara and Kara. She was their daughter for a bit. And I mean, now in the Tom King future, again, she is. Oh, Batman and Catwoman issue 2 comes out next week at the time of this recording. And I'm going to cover it. I don't care if they demonetize me again. Tom King didn't like my opinion of his book. Bozzolini. Hey, Sasha, love your videos. I loved your Lois Lane and Maxwell Lord videos. Your comics always crack me up. Thank you so much. And I said comics, not comments, but thank you very much. And Maxwell Lord, there was actually even going to be a third video in that series, but I figured that I had to calm down, where it was I wanted to talk about his daughter, Emma, liar, liar, but I was like, I need to calm down. Also, Future State is starting, so I have no time. But I was on a Maxwell Lord kick. I was just like intensely, that's the thing that happens to me is I get really intensely into like a character or thing for a little bit. And then if it happens to coincide with what I'm working on, then it's like, it works out. It's great. And sometimes there's like an intense passion burning for something that I just don't end up talking about. And I'm like, that was a thing that I really loved for a bit, but didn't have time to talk about. So it happens. It happens. What are you going to do? I talk really fast. I know I do. I know I talk fast. I can't help it. Maxwell Lord's full name is Maxwell Lord of the Dance. Definitely if you watched Wonder Woman 84. Oh, I got the alert text. The we're coming back text. Okay. So if that means I have about 15 minutes. So did we really round up? I don't think we rounded up. But I had fun. I hope you had fun too. Also, there's a weird thing happening with Future State where some of them are starting this month and finishing next month, which is what I was expecting for all of them. But some of them are starting this month and finishing this month. Like next week, I have Dark Detective 2 and the next Batman 2. So I was going to cover the next Batman. I was going to like finish all that scripting and stuff. And I was like, well, if it's coming out next, then I don't, but too much, DC. I'm trying. Help me to help you. Kind of thing. Please talk about Liar Liar. Well, I saw her in the picture. Yes, I looked at all the pictures of like life post Future State after Infinite Frontier where Booster will matter again because I love Booster, so yay. But I saw that she was in that picture. I also noticed that like, okay, they've been doing this thing with Maxwell Lord where he's just getting like more and more attractive. It's weird. So like he looked like some action adventure. He looked like a weird like cross between like Rip Hunter and somebody else. But they also had him next to Dr. Psycho. So I was kind of like, so in a world where we have Dr. Psycho and Maxwell Lord, are we able to differentiate them enough? Like, I have that question. Like, maybe some more love for Dr. Psycho. I mean, like, don't love Dr. Psycho because he's a jerk. But I mean, like, maybe some acknowledgement for Dr. Psycho because he is an interesting and classic character. And fun fact, one of the only Wonder Woman villains allowed to cross over into the Silver Age, or actually they just continue on after Marston died. And then Robert Kanigher takes over the books and he just nixes like her entire rogues gallery except for like Dr. Psycho and a couple of people. So that's part of the reason why she doesn't have a concrete rogues gallery, because he was just like, nah, X, Dr. Psycho, check, everybody else, XXX, you know? Greg Pectus. Did you read Bruce Jones's Hulk? I hate it so much. Do you read many novels or audiobook? I drive a lot for Uber, so I listen to more audiobooks than comics. Thank you very much for the super chat. I listen to audiobooks as well with, you know, because it's a combination of like digital and, why did I slap that hurt? Of digital and audiobooks. But the thing with audiobooks is sometimes they can take longer because depending on how long the book is, the narration can end up being like 15, 16 hours or something. But that's how I did The Expanse recently, was audiobook. And the narration was pretty okay. The Nosferatu, Joe Hill, has excellent narration by Kate Mulgrew. That's Captain Janeway. So that's definitely a recommend if you're looking for a horror audiobook. There's apparently a Hulu series coming, or was, or whatever. I don't have Hulu, but the book's great. Oh. Justice for Leanne. Yeah, justice for Leanne. Poor Leanne Harper. Not cool. Let me see. Mechazor's random obscure pontification. I wish Dr. Psycho would go back to his wacky golden age ectoplasm powers. More interesting than just another Esper. Thank you for the super chat. And yeah, you know, especially if you're going to have him against Maxwell Lord, because like then you have two characters who are kind of occupying a similar position, you know, so you have to really differentiate them. And I want more differentiation for Dr. Psycho than just he's misogynistic, because he is, and that's what he was created to be. But I need more differentiation between the two of them. Goddess of Whim 2003, last super chat. Thanks to you, I started collecting the original Spider-Woman run and Harley miniseries. Keep rocking it. Also, Dazzler Confusing History. Thank you very much. And oh my God, yes to Dazzler. Disco Dazzler, created because people love disco before the end of the disco craze. That's great. Also, yeah, classic Spider-Woman is a bumpy and interesting ride. It's I mean, some would say that modern Spider-Woman is as well. Someday at some point, that pregnant Spider-Woman arc. But I have so many thoughts and feelings. Like even for that pregnant, like she's fighting crime and she's third trimester pregnant. Like lots of thoughts and feelings. I'm only 5 months away from being third trimester pregnant. So I have lots of thoughts and feelings about that, Mr. King. And also other guy whose name is eluding me at the moment, but got praised as understanding the pregnant experience. So I'm not salty at all. I'm fine. It's totally fine. I'm so salty. I'm just made of salt, man. Care Alexander, Power Pack, Infinity Ink, Blue Beetle, and Booster Gold. Quick before the kids come back. I don't have enough time for all of that. But oh, I was rereading some of Booster Gold's solo series recently, and I love that series so much. And because it's like, okay, imagine The Gift, but if it took its premise seriously and Booster understood the impact he was having on time. There you go. I think that's the perfect way to sum that up. In general, that's a good question, D-Dash. What is your opinion on future state so far? Okay, that's the perfect way to end this roundup before my kids come back. It's uneven. I would say it's uneven. I have a video coming up discussing the timeline issue as well and how you have to read about it in a separate book. So I would say uneven and too big, because it's unreasonable to expect everybody to read all of it. And then because of that, if you don't read all of it, it's not cohesive and it's just a bunch of randomness. And so it's just throwing ideas at a wall. And if that's the case, then really it shouldn't have been branded under like a future state as if it's an event. Just, you know, I don't know. I just branded it as like a bunch of Elseworlds or something, which I guess they kind of have, where that's the branding they're going for with Future State. But I would say that it's a very uneven experience. And it's going to be a very different experience for everybody, because unless you read everything, it's going to be a very much like, if you read 5 and you loved 5, it's going to be a great event. If you read 5 and you hated all of them, it's going to be a really uneven event. So it's really going to vary. But I think somebody left a comment on one of my last videos saying they think it's going to be like Convergence, and that a few years people won't remember it. And I can see it being like that. I can see like some characters and concepts breaking out and sticking around. And then it'll be one of those blips like, oh yeah, they emerged in Future State. And it'll be one of those things that people have to be like, oh, what's that? You know, just like how John Kent was born at the end of Convergence, but that's not something people ever talk about, you know, because people don't talk about convergence. But yeah, so I feel like that's where it's going to potentially end up. But I could be wrong, and I mean, if I am, I am. But I wanted to say thank you so much for tuning in. This was a lot of fun. Again, book club. I'll be posting the choices in the members chat later this evening. I'll announce what the book's going to be tomorrow, and then we'll actually maybe more than later after everybody votes. So next week, and then we'll pick a date and we will stream the book, and I'll try, like, we'll figure out live streams. It's hard with like 2 kids at home, but we'll figure it out, and we'll do at least the book club. So thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. I had fun. I hope you had fun, and enjoy the rest of your day, night, whatever it is. I was about to say, and do all the YouTube things, spout into the whole outro, but I won't. And yes, this live will still be up for people who missed it. It'll be up later. It takes a while for them to load and stuff, so it'll be there in a bit. But thank you so much. And I need to move, so it's going to wobble. And I will see you all in the next video, which will be tomorrow. So see you guys there. Bye. And thank you so much. Bye.